The reason you want to stop self-pleasuring is that you hurt your ability to pleasure a real person. Okay, when you're self-pleasuring yourself, you once again you get desensitized because your brain does not know the difference. When you bust a nut or when you come, your brain don't really know the difference between the real thing versus you artificially inseminating. Your brain is telling the rest of your body and the rest of your senses and the rest of your mind and the rest of your being, your inner being, that the job is done. I reproduce. Because when we have sex, the purpose is to reproduce, really. Pleasure is a part of it. That's the main. There's other purposes. I'm not saying it's the only purpose, of course, but it's the coming of between two to make one. The one is reproduction, reproducing a child. Those are the things. So your brain is telling you that. You're telling your brain when you masturbate that the job is done.
All 3 eyes, I keep my eyes open. If you got, stay strapped before you die smoking. All 3 eyes, I keep my eyes open. Ain't no competition, I'm God's chosen. All 3 eyes, I keep my eyes open. If you got, stay strapped before you die smoking. All 3 eyes, I keep my eyes open. Ain't no competition, I'm God's chosen.
Peace, love, life, and balance. Welcome to Universoul, Life Balance Universoul. I'm your host, Chief Jamal, coming to you. And you see the topic of the video, we're going to talk about it today. It's for my team, semenretention, nofap boys. I support y'all. We're going to get into it right there. Why you need to stop masturbating. Why you need to stop having sex with yourself. Why you need to stop self-pleasuring yourself. Now, I'm going to summarize. It's a lot of talking points that's kind of redundant. I mean, for those who didn't go through it, if you want to inbox me or comment if you've never seen those, there's a lot of videos like that kind of go over the common things. I'm just going to brush over those things. We talk about a lot of times when you are masturbating, when you're seeing women or you're seeing men or whatever, because this is for men and women. As far as the masturbation part, the nofap, it can be for both. Semen retention, of course, is for men. But when women, it's impossible for semen retention, they naturally do it. But for men or women, whenever you are looking at images and you're artificially pleasuring yourself, your brain, the dopamine in your brain has like mirrors that reflect images in your brain, and after a while, after it sees images and you keep getting used to those images that you create, that you see, and you add the physical action to it, your brain, your neurological sense is telling yourself that this is real. So you'll get desensitized through porn. You get desensitized through that. You'll get desensitized through masturbation. That's one of the main reasons. I'm going to brush over these quickly, and I want to get into cover some different angles. Another angle is that another reason you want to stop self-pleasuring is that you hurt your ability to pleasure a real person. Okay, when you're self-pleasuring yourself, once again you get desensitized because your brain does not know the difference. When you bust a nut or when you come, your brain don't really know the difference between the real thing versus you artificially inseminating. Your brain is telling the rest of your body and the rest of your senses and the rest of your mind and the rest of your being, your inner being, that the job is done. I reproduce. Because when we have sex, the purpose is to reproduce, really. Pleasure is a part of it. That's the main. There's other purposes. I'm not saying it's the only purpose, of course, but it's the coming of between two to make one. The one is reproduction, reproducing a child. Those are the things. So your brain is telling you that. You're telling your brain when you masturbate that the job is done. When you bust a nut, your organs, your sexual organs is telling your brain that, hey, the job is done. We did the job. But really the job ain't done. Really, you just wet up your hand and you got some sticky pages. I know it's new areas of foam, so you probably don't got that, but you got something sticky on the outside, not on the inside. You don't pretty much, shot out your seed, and now it's went to waste. It's not going to produce, but your brain doesn't know the difference. You know the difference because you're doing it. Now, your brain, your subconscious knows the difference. All right, your subconscious knows that you're not getting the real thing, so it creates a lack of confidence. A lot of you guys that masturbate a lot, lack confidence, because your subconscious this is not covered that often, is that your subconscious knows the truth. See, your subconscious mind is actually stronger than your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind knows the truth, and after a while, it's going to be a battle between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. That's wherein lies addiction. Because when you are battling, when those two elements of your mind are battling, right, it becomes either evident or urgent to stop doing it. And if you don't, that's when you know you're in addiction. That's when you know you're a slave to that particular act, because your conscious mind, your subconscious knows the difference. That's why you'll feel guilty. That's why you'll feel a certain way. You'll look at your hands or the towel or the whatever, a napkin, whatever, and you'll be like, damn, why I do this? I mean, I've been there. We all been there, okay? I didn't get to this place overnight. But what happens is that you don't know the difference. I mean, your subconscious knows the difference. Now, it's a scripture that actually says that having their conscience seared with a hot iron. After a while, if you ignore your subconscious and you don't just your subconscious is going to always tell you to do the work. It's the real you. It's going to tell you, hey, we need to get a real woman. And it's very loud. Your subconscious is very loud in the beginning, but as you keep going and keep going and keep going, you block out your subconscious, and your conscious becomes seared with a hot iron, meaning that you steam away, or you block away, or you basically burn away that guilty feeling, and you begin to rationalize. You see guys all the time on nofap videos, the semen retention videos. They say stuff like, there's no real science. Even my boy Alpha Male Strategies, good dude. I like a lot of his videos. I don't agree with everything he say, but he talk about it just being a placebo effect. And that is true. It can be a placebo effect too as well, but there are real benefits, scientific benefits. You have to experiment yourself. The best science, family, and I got a whole video about this coming out about the best type of science. The best type of science is the science that you experiment yourself. It's the science where you actually control the variables or one of the variables, and you actually see the result for yourself. We are so lazy that we just read articles and read magazines, and we just look for videos to show us what to do, when the real science is you. So if somebody says that, hey, there's no science on semen retention, block all that out. Give it a shot. Take a 30-day challenge that I'm not going to spill my seed, and then see what happens. And then if it doesn't work for you and you want to quit, fine, that's work for you. But the science on semen retention and nofap is not just a placebo effect. Now, just with any science, is it 100% work for everybody? No. You have to, but for most, if they follow along, for most, you will see benefits, okay? There are major benefits to semen retention. It's basically changing my life. And it's another, I have a three-phase God layer. The God level 3-layer phase. I'm going to be going into. I'm going to actually start putting the course out there for consumption about it. And one of those levels, those 3 levels, is semen retention. Hashtag nofap. Now, the difference between nofap and semen retention, I say semen retention because nofap is cool, but nofap only deals with porn. When you're dealing with semen retention, you're dealing with the sexual energy aspect of dealing with other people as well. You're going to a higher level, and I got a video on sexual energy. You may want to go back and watch that. I talk about sexual energy and exchanging that. But understand that you don't want to be. See, your body was not made for it to please itself. Okay, your body was. That's why if you're a woman, if you're a man, after what happens is as a man, after a while, you begin to get desensitized to real women. You'll have sex with a woman and you can't get hard, or you can't bust, or she doesn't. You'll try to blame on a woman, but really it's you. Or if you're a woman, you're a master. Especially if you use, now for women, it's man. If you're using them toys and stuff like that, you're ruining yourself, and you're basically you're ruining your vagina and taking the same hits as somebody with a high body count without actually getting the pleasure of a man, which is stupid. You should at least get the pleasure. At least women that's got a high body count. Now, they may have the risk, but if you're using the condom, that risk is not brought to nothing but brought away down. But you're getting the same dense of body count to your vagina. Even worse, it's going to be even more showable. You can actually hide real body count better than fake body count through masturbation if you're a woman. But if you're a woman, you're desensitized. Your vagina is very sensitive, more sensitive even than the penis. And you're making yourself not being able to come As a woman, you're gifted to be able to have multiple orgasms. So you kind of take nature's gift away after a time. Now, someone's gonna be saying, I do and I had no problems. It's always exceptions to the rules. We don't use exceptions to argue. Exceptions only prove the rule, y'all. They don't prove that. The exceptions just prove the rule, because when there's an exception, it highlights that, hey, mostly everybody else is not receiving this treatment, and we become aware. If everybody had the same experiences, we wouldn't talk about it. It wouldn't be a topic, because every single person, it would just be the rule. We wouldn't even notice it. But the exceptions make us notice, because they stand out and say, hey, and we see, okay, well, what about everybody else? And then we find out these facts. So getting back to what I'm talking about, for a woman, that can be detrimental to mating, because a woman can meet a man that has all the equipment to make her orgasm, to make her connect. Women pair bond and get because the oxytocin with them deals with their emotion, and it connects with their sensuality. And for them, orgasm is more than just getting the job done. Now, you get some women who get more emasculated, or they get desensitized, they have so many partners that it is that sense. But for the naturally, that's coming together. That's how they pair bond. So if you're masturbating, let's say if you're a virgin and you call yourself a virgin, but you're masturbating, you're not a virgin. Okay, you're not a virgin. All right. I've had women who was real virgins and women who was masturbating virgins, and the ones who were real virgins, there's a big difference between them and the ones who masturbated prior to breaking their virginity. It's a major difference. You're not a virgin. I don't consider you a virgin if you masturbate. And then for men, like I was saying, it affects your sexual performance tremendously, especially when you're talking about being impotent or being. I've been there. I can speak from experience that I remember going through a stage where I was masturbating a lot and not being able to please the woman I'm with, not getting excited for the woman I'm with, and it could ruin your marriage, it could ruin your life, it could ruin a relationship. So it's important. Those are some of the things that we have to understand. And spiritually, your spirit, you're not, even though you're not connecting, you're doing it with yourself. You're inviting sexual demons and sexual spiritual immorality to a level that you may not be able to handle. You're consuming if you're consuming porn, or if you're consuming whatever it may be, if it's things in your mind, you're allowing spiritual darkness to rest in places and make its home, to where you eventually try to okay it, you get desensitized, and you would just continue to go down that dark path where you are doing something that's unnatural to your body. Like I said, it is not in our nature to want to sexually please ourselves. Everything that's inside us scientifically is made to mate with another person, particularly another sex. I know some of you out there mate with the same sex. That's your business, what you want to do. But here we're talking about men and women relations. So that is why you want to put yourself in the best position possible to mate with someone. Be open to different ways of mating. Some of y'all get stuck on, I gotta get married, or I gotta pump and dump, or if you want to beat it, you have to be open to other options. But first and foremost, get control. You should be able to go periods of times without having sex. You should have control over your organs. It's another scripture that talks about having controlling your vessels, controlling your members. You should have control over that. You shouldn't be mating with anybody till you have control over that. You should be in control of every mating situation that you're in, every sexual situation you're in. You should not be, if you're still on a level where you're saying, oh man, I was drunk, I was high, or man, she caught me at this, or man, I was just horny, then you don't have control. You haven't taken the time to build. You got to do it, and it's not easy. It's but it's groups. I'm starting a group. If you want to inbox me or hit me on that, check the contact info. There's groups out there that you can get support and get help. It's not easy, but it's something that you want to do. You want to be able to get control of your organs. I always tell everybody out there, you should go at least 30 days without having any sexual contact, and you'll start to see your life clear up. You'll start to see your mind clear up. Your life will start to improve because you're not so dependent. You don't realize how much sexual energy controls your life till you stop doing it. You stop doing it, you start going back to your kid-like feeling. You start being reopened to the world. You start appreciating nature. You start appreciating things that you don't go somewhere just to get a woman's attention or just to get a man's attention. When you go places, you're actually going to enjoy the actual place. You actually go out to watch a game at a bar and actually watch the game instead of like going, I gotta look good. You ain't got all those hang-ups You'll start to enjoy your children more if you got children. You'll start to enjoy life. You'll get the fullness of life. You'll see that those sex is a big part of life. And I love sex just like anybody else. It is not the end all be all. It's just one part. It's just one very important aspect of our life, but it's not the end all be all. There's much more to life. There's spirituality, there's nature, there's connecting with people on different levels, on intellectual levels, on friendship levels. You'll start appreciating all those things once you understand and control your sexual energy. And when you pleasure yourself, and when you're dependent on yourself to pleasure yourself, when you weren't made to pleasure yourself, yes, you can do it, but you weren't made to do that. You lose out on all of that. You get blinded to all of that. You become a slave to sexual immorality or sexual perversion. So take the time out, like I said, give yourself a 30-day challenge. If you fall, if you slip, just keep going. Just keep going. Whenever, it ain't been time. Listen, I've slipped plenty of times on this journey, but you got to keep going. You can't give up. Get back on the horse. The difference between the winners and losers in life is the losers quit. The winners never quit. The winners don't quit. The winners don't know what quit is. The winners know what finish is. Winners know what finish is. Winners don't understand quit. They understand I'm done. They understand the job is done. And in the course of doing the job, in the course of building, you're going to have obstacles. Nothing can be built that's great without obstacles. So when those obstacles come, just keep going. See what you did wrong. Rewind the tape on yourself. I played football in high school, college, semi-pro, pro, and we always watch film after games, win or lose. And what the film will always do is help us correct mistakes. Help me. I will watch it myself and help correct my mistakes. Just go back to when you fall or slip, go back to what you were doing that may have led to that. It may be the wrong person. You may be in the wrong environment. It may be you're watching something. It may be you were playing with yourself in the shower. Who knows? But find out what that is, and you start eliminating things as you see. Now, when you're first in it, you're going to see certain things and find out, and you might not see everything at once. Just when you slip, try to find one thing that you can correct. Don't focus on finding a bunch of things. Focus on one thing you can correct. Correct that thing, then keep going. And you'll start to see your streaks to go longer. And then when you do it again, find another thing. And you'll build. Now, and next thing you know, after a course of time, 10 different hangups or hiccups you have eliminated because you didn't quit. You got back on the horse. So this is for my semen retention boys, those who interested in it, whatever, my nofap boys. Much love, much shout out, but this is for everybody. So with that being said, family, I'm gonna sign out. Peace, love, life.